And let's welcome you into the brand new event center on the campus of UMBC, the 172,000 square foot home for UMBC basketball and volleyball. Brand new concession stands, a UMBC merchandise store, seats 6,000 including floor seats, and we're all set to get it underway this afternoon from Baltimore, Maryland. We've been talking about this building for 2 years, John Feinstein, but with Dr. Freeman Hrabowski, president of UMBC, cutting the ribbon. We're about ready to get it underway.
Thank goodness the scissor worked with all those people standing there behind Dr. Hrabowski. Quite a moment for this school. You've been around a lot longer than I have, but as you said, they've waited a long time, and this building is Pinocchio, you're a real boy. It sparkles, the lights are great, the rec was wonderful. I love old buildings, but this is a step into the 21st century.
And what does this step do for the confidence of a young UMBC team?
Well, it's got to be cool for them to come out through that tunnel to an almost packed house here in a 5,000-seat arena to be playing the best team in their conference at home with a chance to show them that they're ready to take the next step.
What better way to christen the building, #1 versus #2?
And Vermont has not lost a game in this conference since the 2015-2016 tournament championship game. That's 27 straight wins, and they are still the dominant team in the conference. But UMBC coming up on the outside.
There's a lot of impressive stats for Vermont, but points allowed has to be the #1.
No doubt. They play great defense. They don't turn the ball over and give the other team easy baskets. That's why their assist-turnover ratio is so good. When a shot goes up, the possession's not over. You got to get the rebound. For UMBC, Jairus Lyles obviously leading the league in scoring. They lead the league in steals, and they need some of those today to get live ball turnovers and get going in transition.
The two top candidates for Player of the Year in the America East are here this afternoon.
Yeah, Trey Bell-Haynes, who's really stepped up his game since Anthony Lamb went down with a foot injury, out probably for the season. And, of course, Jairus Lyles has been Mr. Everything for UMBC since Game 1 in November.
Vermont hasn't missed a beat, by the way, without Anthony Lamb. As we take a look at their starters, Drew Urquhart has stepped in very nicely for them.
They've won 10 in a row since their leading rebounder and leading scorer got hurt. That's a remarkable thing in itself, but Urquhart has given them real inside-outside balance because he's more of a low-post player.
And the fastest recovery ever from a high ankle sprain, Arkel Lamar is back in the starting lineup.
He told us a week ago Saturday he would play Wednesday at Stony Brook after 10 days with the high ankle sprain. Good as his word, made the 2 clinching free throws in that game on Wednesday night.
These two teams are the top scoring teams in the conference. They're the top 3-point shooting teams in the conference. UMBC's Daniel Ockham, the freshman, with the rebound on the first shot here at the event center.
And everything's going to be a first here.
KJ Mara with the first miss for UMBC, and Bell-Haynes takes it away for Vermont.
Never been a shot made in this building.
Not yet. Trey Bell-Haynes, last year's America East Conference Player of the Year, and he has taken on a bigger mantle now without Anthony Lamb for the Catamounts.
He's had to score more with Lamb out. He's also rebounded more with Lamb out from the guard spot.
There's Payton Henson, big 6'8" senior. And Sherburne pulls that one down for UMBC. Retrievers, by the way, in the home gold this afternoon. First bucket belongs to Jairus Lyles.
Sort of appropriate that he would get the first basket in the new building because he's meant so much to this program the last couple of years.
A graduate guard with now over 1,500 points in his UMBC career.
And there's never been a basket made in this building by an undergraduate.
I'll
stop doing that.
Please. You talk about Vermont not losing in this conference since 15 as Everett Duncan misses. Lyles with the rebound. UMBC has not beaten Vermont, John, since 2008.
Right, when the only year they won the conference title. And that's a good start for UMBC. Ryan Odom was a little worried about his team being overamped because of the ceremony and the drama of being in the new building and all the hype surrounding it, but they get off to a good 4-0 start here.
All 4 for Lyles, who leads the conference with 21 points per game. By the way, Lyles 2 for 2. He was 2 for 12 against Vermont in the first game between these two teams.
Scored only 8 points season low. Bell-Haynes answers with a 3 there.
Trey Bell-Haynes averaging 14.5 per game at a game-high 21 against Binghamton last time out.
Don't be shocked to see the Retrievers go to a 3-2 zone at some point here. They used it in the second half up at Vermont after giving up 44 first-half points and really did slow the Catamounts down with that zone.
Lyles with the basketball and Bell Haynes. Just 6 to shoot now for UMBC. Lyles with penetration.
Great defense.
Tied up inside by Bell Haynes.
Strip Lyles of the ball.
Catamounts in transition, and a lane now. Great defense by Ocken underneath. And steal the other way for the Catamounts. Bell Haynes.
Foul.
And he'll go to the line.
Reaching foul by Sherburne there. Great block by Ocken. You saw in a matter of 3 seconds both the potential and the youth of Dan Ocken there. Comes over for the block. Sherburne trying to get a fast break going and ends up turning it over and committing the foul. We met his brother Jimmy before the game. They're like twins.
Absolutely. Hey, let's head over to the third member of our crew, Paul Mittermeier, standing by. Paul?
Well, guys, UMBC knocked out a big wall last time out against Stony Brook. They won it on Long Island for the first time in 10 years. They're entrenched with, right now, a possible home America East game. But if they want to get where they need to get to, they have to knock down the Vermont wall. 22 straight losses to the Catamounts. If they want to win the conference, they have to get through Vermont. And the next chance is today here at a brand new event center.
Paul, thank you. Trey Bell Haynes with 2 free throws for Vermont. And now basically the battle is between Bell Haynes and Jairus Lyles early in this game.
As you said, probably the 2 leading candidates for player of the year in the league right now.
Here's Mora inside the lane of Giants. That was saved by Lyles. 5 to shoot. Sherburne with the left-hander. Ocken tries to keep it alive, but it's pulled down by Urquhart.
Very physical early here. Refs letting them play. There's a foul, and that's a goaltend, too. That was just a mistake there on the goaltend. Foul couldn't be helped.
So this will actually end up being an and one for Bell Haynes.
You see here, Bell Haynes goes up. That's a good block there, but that's not. It came too late. The ball was on the way in. Hard to see that in slow motion, actually. It was very clear. Rob Sneddon had the right call in live action.
So Bell Haynes now has all 8 for Vermont as they have doubled up UMBC early on.
It's Bell Haynes 8, Lyles 4 thus far. 2 best players in the league going at it. And right now the advantage is to the guy whose team is in first place.
UMBC at 16-8 matches their best start, 7-2 in the conference in the last 15 years. The last time they started 7-2 was back in the 07-08 season. They went on to the NCAAs.
One NCAA tournament appearance.
Sherburne high off the glass. Ocken keeps it alive.
30 seconds.
Never touched the rim.
Right. Good defense there. Let's see what Brandon Cruz has. Here you see Sherburne goes to the rim, but he doesn't. You know, it grazed the rim. Ball grazed the rim.
And
so
now they're looking at it.
They're going to take a look. Who got the rebound is my question.
I think it was Ocken that got the rebound.
In which case it would be UMBC ball inbound. I think
let's
that
take a
ball
look
grazed
one more
the rim.
time.
Initially I did not, but watch here. See, boop, just grazes off the front of the rim.
There's any doubt about it.
So if Ocken did in fact get that rebound, it should be UMBC ball underneath with a fresh 30.
Our officials today, Brandon Cruz, Rob Sneddon, and Josh White. And they are the crew taking a look at it here.
Brandon Cruz worked a double overtime game at Iona last night. Iona beating Quinnipiac in double OT, and then drove down. He's a Long Island guy, drove down here this morning for the game. And it's going to be UMBC ball. They got it right, going to the monitor.
The beauty of technology.
Well, that's one case where it helped out because I sure as heck didn't see it graze the rim, so you can understand why all 3 refs did. Because I have very good eyes, just for the record.
The Retrievers have used 9 different starting lineups this year. Their scholarship players have missed 54 games. Vermont, meanwhile, has used 2 different starting lineups.
Well, and we'll see how much was foul on the floor there. We'll see how much Nolan Garrity can play today. He and Joe Sherburne went to Chipotle on Thursday night for dinner. Sherburne ordered steak. Garrity ordered chicken. Garrity was sick all day yesterday. Told me he threw up 20 times yesterday.
Wow.
And Sherburne came over while we were talking and said, if you were a real man and ate steak, Midwestern boy, of course, you wouldn't have been sick. But he says he's okay. He looked okay in warm-ups.
That's typical Joe Sherburne. Lamar misses the reverse, and Vermont has the basketball.
Joe Sherburne is a football and steak guy, isn't he?
And a Green Bay Packers fan.
That's putting it mildly.
Underneath, Bell Haynes gets free of Mara, and Trey Bell Haynes has scored the first 10 Vermont points in this game.
Well, he went to the 3-2 zone there, and Mora got caught underneath with Tre'Vell Haynes, who's about, I don't know, 8 inches taller than him. It depends on how tall you're conceding KJ is.
The Retrievers scored the first 4 in this game as Lyles puts up a floater, 1 and done.
They've gone cold.
They certainly have. And Ernie Duncan, the redshirt junior from Evansville, Indiana, plays with his brother Everett on the starting 5.
And they have a younger brother who's coming to Vermont next year. So there'll be 3 Duncans at Vermont next year.
Well, they're on fire, and this time it's a 3-pointer from Everett Duncan in the corner. And all of a sudden, the Catamounts have pulled ahead by 9. 14:56 left to play in this one. The Retrievers got off to a good early start, courtesy of Jerris Lyles.
I don't think you can overstate how big of an advantage it is to be playing a championship game in front of your home crowd.
Standing room only, and just at the end, like having everybody rush the court, it's like a surreal feeling.
Obviously that shot, has been a big part of this program's history, and they did a lot of winning here, and that's why I came here. We had that opportunity, just got to take it.
Just to go out as a winner.
Cut down the nets at home. Win at home, win it all.
Our house rules.
Our house rules.
Our house rules.
The Vermont Catamounts have scored the last 13 points in this game and taken a 9-point lead on UMBC as we welcome you into for the first time at the new UMBC Event Center, joined by UMBC Director of Athletics Tim Hall at the table. And Tim, your thoughts on this beautiful brand new building?
Well, words can't explain what a great facility it is. And I'll be honest, Ryan Odom and I were walking through here by ourselves 2 days ago, and we both got a little bit emotional. We had talked about the possibility of this happening even before he was hired here. And then he was hired and going through the construction process and walking through and saying, here we are. And it's another part of UMBC's illustrious history. And so as I was doing social media this morning, I used the phrases transformational and historic because it really is. And my dad raised us with a lot of sayings, one of which is life is a series of new beginnings. And this is a really strong new beginning for UMBC.
And the building just sparkles, Tim. I know you waited a long time to get here, but it seems like it was worth the wait.
No question it was worth the wait, and I think the architects, Cannon Design, and Barton Mallow, the general contractors, really did a fantastic job working with our facilities management folks. Couldn't have asked for a better partnership, and I think the end product, as we're sitting here looking at it, is a legitimate college basketball venue, and we can't be more pleased.
Going inside is Drew Urquhart for a pair, and now Vermont leads it by 11, joined by UMBC Athletics Director Tim Hall. And Tim, what does this mean not only for athletics, but for student life in general here on campus?
Oh, I think it means a lot, and if you talk to Dr. Rabowski, he would tell you that he's spent most of his time here really building a university. When you look at it from the context of, we just celebrated our 50th anniversary, and he's been here about 30 years in a leadership capacity. And as he built the academic stature of the institution, now he really wants to put his focus on the student experience and primarily the undergraduate student experience. And so this building will be huge from that perspective.
Can you enjoy yourself today, or will you be too nervous as this game goes along?
Well, I'm trying to do both. It's hard to not be nervous, and Vermont certainly is a really good team, and they're a little bit ahead of us in terms of building their program. It's something that we aspire to, and I think we're going to get there. and this building's going to help it. But there's always a certain level, John, of what I call productive paranoia on game day.
Arkel
You
Lamar's
sound like a coach.
Arkel Lamar's 2 free throws break a 15-point run for Vermont. UMBC trails by 9 with less than 14 minutes left to go in this one. And also, Tim, they talk about being a good partner in the community, in the Catonsville community. This is really the first building of its kind in this part of the county. Talk a little bit about what that means.
Oh, I think it will be huge for us, especially for Baltimore County at large. Not that we don't want to have involvement from all of the various counties and regions in Maryland and beyond, but specifically for Baltimore County, it'll be great for them to be able to experience concerts and boat shows, home and garden shows, and especially UMBC basketball in a venue that's really first class and is going to be an anchor venue in this community.
Just to break in for a sec, that was a huge three by Grant off the bench because he struggled a little bit in recent games. And UMBC now, Gary, has gone to that zone defense that worked pretty well for them up in Vermont. And they've gotten 3 straight misses out of it.
That was a rush shot by Vermont. Nolan Garrity checks into the basketball game, and he gets the rebound for UMBC. Retrievers trail by 11. Now they trail by 6. Lyles has the basketball. The rainmaker from Lyles. And he'll go to the line.
That's what Jairus Lyles can do. He can hit from deep, and he can hit from deep while guarded, and they're going to need him to do that all day today.
I think Tim Hall just said it well, John. He said, wow.
Yeah. Do the replay for us, Tim.
That's unbelievable. very, very apropos that it's a senior and a great player like Jairus here on the day we're opening the building.
Well, I pointed out when he made the first basket that there still hadn't been a bucket in the building by an undergrad.
Right. Very true.
Tim, while we have you, what has Jairus Lyles meant to this basketball program?
I think if you look back at Jairus' history, great interscholastic and AAU player, and it took him a place or two to find out where the right fit was, but UMBC is a great fit for him, and I think he will tell you that he matured so much as a young man and as a basketball player under the tutelage of Ryan Odom, and he's going to get an opportunity because he bought into Ryan's system and really showed that leadership. He's going to get an opportunity to certainly play at a high level when he's done here.
Lyles again.
His run.
And we're all tied at 15.
So now that's an 11-0 run for UMBC after a 15-0 run by Vermont. So they've gone to a little zone trap here, dropping into the 3-2 zone, and it's working. And just as I say that, of course, they get a layup.
There's a nice finish by Everett Duncan, and Vermont now leads by 2. Well, Tim, listen, congratulations. This has been a process. John and I were talking. We've been talking about this for 2 years.
Yeah, no question.
Finally, the ribbon gets cut, and this place gets birthed. Thank you so much.
Here we are. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
The parking works.
The parking's that's the most important thing,
the key, right?
Parking's great. Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Tim. Congratulations.
That is Tim Hall, the Director of Athletics here at UMBC. And we've got a basketball game, John.
We do. Very competitive at both ends. Both these teams can play. Forced 3 there by Moore at the end of the clock.
Rebound is pulled down by Everett Duncan.
And Cam Ward is now in the game for Vermont. And for you hockey fans, he is not moonlighting from his job as being the goalie for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Fun fact about Cam Ward, he's playing in his 130th consecutive game today, which is a record now for UVM. Here's Grant. Can't finish, but a foul called on Ernie Duncan. And Jordan Grant, and you pointed out, picked up a big 3 earlier, will go to the line for UMBC. The Vermont Catamounts and the UMBC Retrievers 1 and 2 in the conference.
On the floor.
Fans, True Grit has gone missing, and Jacob needs your help to retrieve True Grit from his secret location. Jacob will need all of your help to find him. If he's getting closer, make sure to cheer and make some noise. However, if he's getting further away, we need you to boo. Again, if Jacob's getting closer to True Grit, we need you to cheer and make some noise. But if Jacob's getting further away, we need you to boo. If True Grit can be found in 30 seconds, Jacob will win a UMBC Retriever Nation backpack courtesy of Northwestern Mutual. Let's put 30 seconds on the stopwatch. On your mark, get set, go! True Grit for the UMBC.
Gary Stein, John Feinstein, and Paul Mittermeier back with you from the UMBC Event Center. It is opening day of this brand new building here on the campus of UMBC. The Vermont Catamounts leading the Retrievers 17-15. It's been a game of runs. And John, even more impressively, it's really been a game within a game. Trey Bell-Haynes for Vermont, Jairus Lyles for UMBC.
Well, we featured them at the start of the game as the two leading candidates for Player of the Year in the America East. Trey Bell-Haynes, the best player on the first place team, and Jairus Lyles, the best player on the second place team, and they both certainly lived up to that in the early going. Lyles with the first 4 points, and then Bell-Haynes with the next 10, and then Lyles with that spectacular 3 while being fouled just a second ago that got UMBC back to within 2, and now they're still down 2 a moment later.
And there's a look at Jairus Lyles, top 10 in 8 different categories in the America East, leads the league in scoring, leads along with KJ Mara in steals per game. And that is a point to bring up. Not only is this an offensive backcourt with Mara and Lyles, it's a very high-level defensive backcourt as well.
Well, and as we showed before the game, they lead, UMBC leads the league in steals at 8.6 a game. Vermont, a good defensive team just by comparison, steals the ball about 4 times a game. And John Becker was saying this morning that one of the things his team cannot do is allow Lyles and Mora to get steals because that leads to transition buckets, and that's one of the great strengths for UMBC.
Jordan Grant now with 5 big points for UMBC off the bench. And we're all tied up at 17.
That's a very good sign for Ryan Odom to see Jordan Grant starting to get some of his mojo back. Again, Retrievers making it a little bit hard for Vermont to get into their offense with that zone trap, and then they drop back into that 3-2 zone that gave them some trouble up in Burlington.
Less than 10 to shoot. Sherburne with some baseline defense here, and Vermont will still have the basketball, but only 7 on the shot clock.
He said to Jimmy Sherburne when they came over to say hello to us, how many times so far today have you been told you look just like Joe? And he said 3, but I've only been here 5 minutes.
You just saw John Becker on the sidelines, who has surpassed Tom Brennan and Mike Lonergan in winning percentage in UVM history.
Yep.
And it is a walk on Trey Bell-Haynes. Becker, one of the top mid-major coaches in the country. I know you had a chance to talk to him. A really stand-up guy.
Oh, no doubt about it. And, you know, Tom Brennan, for whom the court is now named up in Burlington and Patrick Gym, talks about how John Becker has gone way out of his way to keep him involved in the program up there, even though he hasn't coached the team for 13 years now. Harris got away with a walk there.
UMBC with a chance to take the lead, 10 to shoot, ball in the hands of Sherburne, who, by the way, went 0 for 6 from 3-point distance against Vermont in their first game. And Lyles drawing the foul from Bell-Haynes, and that'll be a 3-shot foul.
Well, that's the old Bob Knight saying, is there anything better in life than a good shot fake? Well, the answer is yes, but this is a really good shot fake. Steps back, waits for Bell-Haynes to jump into him, and then releases the shot. Textbook.
Lyles, one of the best free throw shooters in the conference, 82%.
He's improved his free throw shooting greatly this year.
Co-player of the week last week, averaging 25.5 points per game.
Here, I jinxed him.
Why'd you do that? Missed the second of 3.
My big mouth.
Prepped at DeMatha, down in the D.C. area, a transfer from Virginia Commonwealth. And he really has had a big impact on the court product of this basketball team. 2 out of 3 for Lyles, and the Retrievers lead by 2.
Played a year at Virginia Commonwealth, spent about 15 minutes at Robert Morris, and then ended up here. Which worked out well for both him and the school. And Tim Hall was talking earlier about Jairus Lyles buying into what Ryan Odom has coached him to do. And you can see that. Last year, early in the season, late in games, coaches were putting 4 guys on him because they knew he wasn't giving the ball up. And now he is giving the ball up. And Nolan Garrity gets called for the foul there. And basically he got called for the foul just for being there. Because it's a very physical game here.
I kind of saw Urquhart's elbow in motion there.
Urquhart's a big body, and he's got probably 20 pounds on Ryan Garrity. And when he moves backward, which he's allowed to do, he's going to move Ryan, and Ryan's got to push up against him to keep him from backing him into the low post. Nolan. I was thinking of Ryan Odom there a minute ago.
Nice run by Everett Duncan inside the lane, and the floater is good, and we're all tied at 19.
Well, we all know Indiana boys can play, right?
They sure can.
Duncans are from Evansville, and as I said, their younger brother Robin will be here next year. So they will be the Plumlees of mid-major basketball. Nice steal.
Dangerous pass intended for
pass,
Lyles.
and a double dribble by Ward. The turnover call. Rob Stedman right there on the ball. Ward made a nice steal there in the lane, but as he came out with it, watch this, he puts both hands on the ball. Good steal. Here he's getting control of it, and it's either a double dribble or a walk. You take your pick. Can't touch it with two hands when you're moving with the ball.
Substitution for UMBC. Lamar is back in the basketball game. Joe Sherburne sits down.
John Becker didn't like that call, but he didn't have as good a view as we had there on the replay, or as Rob Snedden had there when the play took place.
Cam Ward sits down for Vermont.
Rest.
Checking in Steph Smith, a freshman guard. Steph Smith, by the way, the heir apparent to Traybell Haynes. That's too long for Lyles.
Lyles hesitated there on the catch. He wasn't sure what he wanted to do with the ball, and that's why the shot was so far off.
Steph Smith, who's now in the basketball game, and Bell Haynes, both from the same high school in Canada. Both Brothers Academy. Here's a steal for UMBC. Lyles. The return pass from Lamar.
Oh, I thought he was set. He had his feet set. I thought he'd make it. One of the things about shooting from outside is you got to be physically ready when you catch it. You also have to be mentally ready. You have to be in the mindset that you're going to shoot the ball. If you're hesitant, then you probably won't make the shot.
Foul from the back. I believe it'll be on Garrity's. He may have pushed Urquhart off the spot.
It is on Garrity. Josh White with that call. Ryan Odom telling Brandon Cruz that he doesn't agree. Let's see here what happens. You can see Garrity pushing. And like I said, if Nolan Garrity doesn't push Urquhart, he's going to get back in the low post every time. So it's a tough deal for him. Now Aachen back in the game.
That's 2 on Garrity, 14 fouls on UMBC, 5 on Vermont.
And you can see they go right back to Urquhart because he's bigger than Aachen too. I mean in terms of strength, not in terms of height.
6'8", 220 for Urquhart. 6'8", about 205. 6'9", 205 for Aachen. Again, Urquhart inside, and he can't handle it.
Well, they tried to get him. Urquhart's big and strong, but he's not terribly vertical, as the football experts would say. And they tried to throw him a lob pass. That's not his strength. Watch here. Try to throw him the lob. He just can't get to it.
As John Becker looks on from the sideline. A lot on the line for this Vermont team. All those streaks that you mentioned. Their conference winning streak is the longest active streak in the country. Nice move by Grant inside. The floater. Well defended by Everett Duncan. And a timeout on the floor. We'll take it 2 with 7:58 left to play in the half. The Retrievers in their new home tied up with the Catamounts from Vermont.
Respect is hard work. Respect is dedication.
Respect is earned on the court or on the field.
Respect doesn't judge based on sexual orientation or gender identity.
Respect is being the first conference to partner with the You Can Play project.
And the first conference in the LGBT Sports Safe Founders Club.
Respect coaches, players, and the game.
Respect similarities.
Respect differences.
Spread respect.
Spread respect.
Spread respect.
I don't think you can overstate how big of an advantage it is to be playing a championship game in front of your home crowd.
Standing room only, and just at the end, like having everybody rush the court, it's like a surreal feeling.
Obviously that shot, has been a big part of this program's history, and they did a lot of winning here, and that's why I came here. We had that opportunity, just got to take it.
Just to go out as a winner.
Cut down the nets at home. Win at home, win it all.
Our house rules.
Our house rules.
Our house rules.
First ever game this afternoon from the UMBC Event Center. Vermont and UMBC tied at 19. Gary Stein, John Feinstein, And Paul Mittermeier with you from the UMBC Event Center. It's been a battle. Traybell Haynes with 10 points for Vermont, Jairus Lyles with 12, and it's a pleasure to be joined by UMBC President Dr. Freeman Hrabowski.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm more excited than ever.
Tell me, great building.
A wonderful building.
How does this building impact UMBC and the community around it?
Sure. This is building community both on campus and beyond. It's a destination. It takes us to the next level in athletics. We know we're doing well in academics. This will take us to that level, right? We're very excited.
Pinocchio, you're a real boy. That's what this building is. But I have to ask you this question.
Yes.
You marched with Dr. King when you were 12 years old, went to jail in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yep.
You were a close advisor to President Obama.
Yes.
How did cutting that ribbon rank in your extraordinary life?
Let me tell you, believe it or not, cutting that ribbon symbolized this university going to the next level. Everything I did before was about preparing for this moment, for this university. And so it's all an accumulation of excellence. This is academic excellence and now athletic excellence.
We're joined by Dr. Freeman Hrabowski, the president of UMBC. Today is opening day for the new arena, the event center here. We're tied at 19, the Retrievers and the Vermont Catamounts. Dr. Hrabowski, you're famous for saying a lot of things, but one of the things you say, which is so true, is it's cool to be smart.
Yes.
Today, and that's true.
Yes.
Today, though, it's cool to be a basketball player at UMBC.
That's exactly right. But let me tell you, Jairus, who's doing well and who's getting all those three-pointers, got a 4.0 last semester. Wow. So
awesome.
the idea of scholar athlete is real at UMBC.
When he made the first basket, I made the point that no undergraduate had scored in this building yet.
You're right, because he's already in grad school.
Exactly.
You know, it's so exciting, it really is. But for a president, it's about the heart beating, beat for my students, right?
How do you do watching games? Do you get really nervous?
You know, and I try to stay contained, but I am very nervous because I am a true nerd. I'm a mathematician.
Right, I know
So
that.
my students are always helping me to appreciate this, right, on another level.
Right.
But it does show the spirit, the pride people have, both students, alumni, legislators, Senator Cardin is here, all kinds of people. And so it's so important to respect academics and to respect athletics.
Tough shot there by Urquhart.
Yes.
President Obama is a legitimate hoops fan.
Yes.
I mean, he's a hoops fan.
No, he's good.
So how much of a hard time did he give you about your program?
No, we were all about academic excellence. We were in education, right? Everybody knows.
But now you can talk hoops with him.
I can talk hoops, right? My students have been teaching me all the time. They really are.
Foul away from the ball.
The foul away from the basketball as Aachen takes a spill. That foul, by the way, is on Everett Duncan. But, you know, it is interesting. Talk to me about, because athletics may not necessarily be your #1 thing, right? Like you said, you are a mathematician. But what have you learned about and from your student athletes here?
No, it's very good. The discipline that they have, how much it takes to be a Division I athlete, so important. And I watch my athletes who graduate and get jobs, and it's amazing. The skills they learn as athletes, they use all the time. The ability to work with people, being focused, right? Having a goal, knowing how to win and how to lose. All those things are really important. They're very important.
And you know that, rightly or wrongly, having good athletic teams increases the visibility of a university.
That's exactly right.
My alma mater has a great reputation academically, Duke, because of its basketball team.
Sure.
So this is what you have a chance to build.
This is right. To connect the academics and the athletics is really important. We're getting great student athletes, scholar athletes. Very important.
The turnaround by Payton Henson gives Vermont a 4-point lead, and now good defense here by the Catamounts. Sherburne back in the game for UMBC. Dr. Hrabowski, I also wanted to ask you, not only the student athletes, but this initiative that UMBC and the America East Conference in general has undertaken with ESPN3 has brought a whole new level of communications experience to many UMBC students. Talk about that and how that prepares them for the future.
Well, you know, it's really significant that this whole conference consists of universities that believe in both the athletics and the academics. It's great to have the visibility for the families, for the students. And what you're seeing is increasing level of competitiveness and athletic excellence. They are doing it. I mean, there's an intensity, there's a passion that's amazing, like right there.
That was a good pass.
That was a good pass. I'm watching it. I'm telling you, my students are teaching me all the time.
28 years here.
Yes.
You have to be amazed. I mean, you should get a lot of the credit. You got the state to give you $85 million for this building. But when you look around your campus and see what it was when you got here and what it is now, do you ever just shake your head and go, wow?
You know, I think about how many people have worked so hard to make a difference. And what's so significant is you're talking about large numbers of people who give their lives to each university, including UMBC, to build the place, you know? And it's unbelievable when you see the passion of these students.
A lot of passion on the court right now. KJ Marr and Jairus Lyles. We're joined by Dr. Freeman Hrabowski, the president of UMBC. And, of course, we're opening up the building, the new UMBC Event Center here. 1-1 for the first time.
Right. You know, and to see my elected officials really happy about it. It's great for elected officials to care about universities, to care about education, about athletics, all that.
Well, because they'll take all the credit.
Well, they've done. Let me say this, though, man. You need to know. We have had, in the last 15 years, $750 million in academic buildings. That's the state of Maryland believing in higher education. You know, that's important to say as you talk about athletics being the light, the shining light on the place.
Right.
Then the question is, what's going on there? So the good news here is you got great athletics and great academics.
Well, all I can tell you is my nephew, who is a freshman at Brown, came down to Brown or UMBC.
I can believe it. Now, many of our students have looked at the Ivies. We send 40% of our students to grad school. I mean, to the best places in the country, and we have large numbers of kids who come here to grad school. So it's a good story.
It's a wonderful story. It really is.
Tied at 23 now, Vermont with the basketball. The 2 free throws by Mara.
Zone has really helped UMBC, although not there. Every time I say the zone is working, Vermont makes a nice pass and scores.
Well, I think we all share this sentiment. Doctor, I think we all share this sentiment that this is a place, not that memories weren't created at the RAC, because they were, but this is a place where new memories will be created.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Well, and by the way, good move by you guys, not calling it the Retriever Event Center.
No.
Because Ryan Odom pointed out you'd then be going from the RAC to the REC.
No, our intention is to have somebody really fortunate to have their name on it, quite frankly. We have no shame.
Gary can afford it.
Gary can afford it.
You should talk to Gary.
Well, now I can. Dr. Freeman Hrabowski, president of UMBC.
Thank you.
Thanks
so much for being here.
Congratulations.
All right. Thank you.
My mother would say Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov. Thank you.
John, I got to tell you, he is one of the best guys I've ever met.
I got to tell you, you know I'm not a fan of college presidents in general. I am a fan of Freeman Hrabowski. He's a great man.
He lifts you up.
No, he does. And we were talking just before he came on the air about that experience marching with Dr. King when he was 12 years old and went to jail for a week. And he said that experience shaped his life. And that tells you, again, about the extraordinary influence Dr. King had on so many people in this country.
3 ball is off from Henson. It'll be UMBC basketball. And a foul
it'll be 1-1 after the foul.
John Becker obviously not too pleased with that.
And that foul, I believe, was on Urquhart. Hard to stay focused on the game when you're talking to people like Freeman Hrabowski, but it's a very good basketball game here. Vermont's been ahead most of this half after trailing 4-0 early. Aachen, who struggled at the line, misses the front end of the 1-1, and that has been a real Achilles heel for UMBC.
Aachen coming in just a 43% free throw shooter, and they convert. Urquhart, who usually does most of his damage inside, with a straightaway 3.
Well, that's why they gave him the shot. I think your attitude if you're UMBC, and now Vermont in his zone, is let Urquhart take that shot.
Vermont now with 5 straight points. They've opened up the 5-point lead. Max Curran underneath with the catch.
Yeah, he got fouled when he came down with the ball.
Curran, the freshman from Hooksett, New Hampshire, will go to the line when we return. A timeout on the floor. 3:59 left. Drew Urquhart, who stepped in for Anthony Lamb, has done a great job on the inside. Oh, and by the way, he can also shoot the 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the floor your Retriever dance team and cheerleaders.
One of the first student athletes.
Time now to recognize UMBC Scholar Athlete, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Today, our student athlete is Chukwumo Chiamaka from the women's basketball team, a geography environmental systems major. She's appeared in 37 career games for UMBC. UMBC student athletes receive the athletic department's inaugural Grit Awards. Honorees are those that best embody Retriever Athletics' core values of growth, spirit, integrity, and teamwork. And let's head down to the sidelines. Paul Mittermeier standing by with a special guest. Paul?
Thanks, guys. I'm with Emerson Small, one of the first student athletes here at UMBC. Emerson, you played in the field house, or I guess what was called Gym 2. What do you remember most about those games you played back then?
Well, that's correct. We called it Gym 2, but I called it a brand new arena in 73, 74. And that's what I remember the most. It was a glistening, brand new, wonderful arena. I come back to the games now and they say, it's so old. And I say, no, it's not so old.
What about this place? How proud are you as an alum to see the opening of this arena? What do you think?
Oh, this is just incredible. Dr. Corrett and just everybody, Dr. Rabowski, everyone has done a wonderful job. The arena is just absolutely fabulous, and it's full, and I think it's wonderful.
Emerson, thank you so much. Enjoy the day.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Paul.
Guys?
Paul, great memories. Emerson, thank you so much. Max Curran misses the first of 2 free throws for UMBC.
What was Memorial Stadium like when it was new?
Why do you ask me the question?
I don't know. I'm just being a wise guy. That's 3 missed free throws, 4 potential points passed up by the Retrievers. Nice save.
Save here by Bell Haynes. And with the basketball now is Rob Petty, who has played well for John Becker.
Petty is a freshman with a pro body, as you can see, learning to play. He was going to redshirt, because John Becker likes to move it, bring his big men along slowly. But because of the injuries that they've had, one to Dingba, who was a transfer who got hurt after 4 games, and of course the injury to Lamb, they stopped his red shirt, and he's played well for them off the bench.
Meanwhile, Cam Ward with a left-handed floater. Jerris Lyles answers.
Lyles thought he got fouled there, but everybody thinks they're getting fouled on every possession of this game. Very physical.
Lyles had 8 in the first game against Vermont. He's got 14 in the first half today. Vermont by 5. Vermont unbeaten in the conference. They've won 11 straight games. They're 18-5 overall. They lost at Kentucky by 4, and a turnover here for the Catamounts.
They played a very tough non-conference schedule, and that's what prepares you to play in conference play better than anything. Let's watch here. There you go. You see the swim move. That's the old swim move. And that's a freshman mistake.
That was a Petty, not turnover, but a foul on Petty. Petty, by the way, another Hoosier.
Yes,
not only the Duncans are from Indiana.
They have 3 on the team. They'll have 4 next year. All of them are both Duncans and Petty underclassmen. Duncans are a junior and a sophomore.
You've got to give credit where credit is due, John. This Vermont mid-major program is a basketball factory. They just keep churning out these all-conference players.
Well, they lost 3 key seniors, 3 starters last year off the team that went 19-0 in conference play, 16-0 regular season. And I was talking to John Becker this morning about their game against Albany in the championship game at Patrick Gym. There's a steal on the inbounds by Mora.
And the 3.
Classic KJ Mora right there. Makes a steal off the inbounds and immediately swishes a 3. Such a smart player, too.
And they're going to call Sherburne on a push from behind.
I think that's 2 on Sherburne. Watch KJ gets in there with those quick hands, realizes he's open and says, why not? Indeed, why not?
That's Mora's second steal of the game. He and Jerris Lyles are tied for the league lead.
It's 2 on Sherburne. UMBC now utilizing his full court press off of makes or any inbounds pass.
So Garrity with 2, Sherburne with 2, and for Vermont, both Duncans and Urquhart have 2.
Yeah, there've been quite a few fouls in this game. Both teams in the double bonus now.
John, you talk about the players Vermont lost last year.
Actually, I'm sorry. Let me correct myself. UMBC is only in the bonus. Apologize, Gary.
No problem. Last year, Vermont, as Belhanes moves it past midcourt, had the player of the year, the defensive player of the year, the sixth man of the year, and the rookie of the year all on the same team.
Well, going 19-0 will do that for you, won't it?
This is true.
John Becker told me the most nervous game he ever had in his life was when they were down 9 with 8 minutes to go against Albany in the championship game. All their dreams were about to go up in smoke. That's a tough move.
Nifty move by Belhanes, who now has 12 for Vermont.
Guard skills, but he's got a big body. He's strong when he gets in the lane.
And he was the America East Conference Player of the Year last year.
And again, he doesn't just score. He averages almost 6 rebounds a game, and he reached in, and Smith reached in there.
Foul on Seth Smith. Let's take a look at Belhanes.
And again, watch him use his strength here to get in the lane and just get that shot up and in.
And against a strong guard in Jordan Grant.
Jordan Grant is a strong guard and a good defender. And that's why he had to make such a tough shot, because Grant was right with him and didn't foul.
KJ Moore at the line. 6 points now for KJ. The junior college transfer from San Juan, Puerto Rico, was the JUCO Player of the Year 2 years ago, holds the all-time single game assist record in JUCO with 20.
And other coaches in this league will tell you that Ryan Odom deserves a lot of credit for recruiting and giving a scholarship to. There's another near turnover. It is a turnover.
Sideline.
Hit on the sideline. Again, the press. Remember last year, Gary, Vermont had a 16-point lead. Watch this replay here. See what happens. It would have been off of Aachen, but then was that Smith over there trying to get it, and it went out, it hit the sideline, and officials were all over it. But Vermont was up 16 and dominating here last year, and Ryan Odom went to a press, and they cut the lead to 3 with the ball. Closest Vermont came to losing in the regular season, but there's a turnover the other way.
Cam Ward with a good look from 3, and he banks it.
And that's what I mean about being mentally ready to shoot. He knows the ball's coming to him, and he's into his shooting motion as he catches it. A lot like Joe Sherburne when he's at his best.
Cam Ward with 5 big points off the bench, again playing in his 130th consecutive game. It's an all-time Vermont record. There's Mara with the little step back.
It was a tough shot there because he had a bigger man in his face.
And Aachen will get called for the foul underneath.
And that off the loose ball should be 1-1. There's Vermont in transition, and you know just where the shooter is, and he's catches into his motion, and of course he's a lefty, so he's a good shooter. This will be 1-1 for Vermont. Smith going to the line off that scramble for the rebound.
This will give us a good look as Ryan Odom looks on of Steph Smith, the exciting freshman guard for Vermont at a Bill Carter secondary. He was a valedictorian in his class last year, and he ended up the all-time leading scorer in his school.
And I'm going to correct you. Ryan Odom was not looking on there. He was yelling,
conversing.
Yeah, at referee Rob Sneddon, because he was saying, you could tell Ryan's body language. He's saying, if that's a foul there, why isn't it a foul here?
Smith makes both, and Vermont now.
That's what coaches want. They want consistency at both ends. If my guy fouls with his left hand and the other guy uses his left hand, that should be a foul too.
Vermont perfect from the line this afternoon. They're 5 for 5. Retrievers are 11 for 15. There's Lyles creating inside the lane.
Tough shot.
Floats it in.
He's so good at those floaters off the dribble. That's why he's so difficult to guard. If you give him space on the outside, he can nail the 3. If you come up on him, he gets in the lane on you. And Vermont's going to use it or lose it timeout.
With 28.9 seconds left in the half.
Now John
Lyles now with 16 of UMBC's 32.
Use the left hand here, gets in the lane. That was a Euro step. And what John Becker was complaining about there, KJ Moore always has his hands in there on a defender. And he's trying to steal the ball while Vermont's trying to call timeout, which is smart basketball. Because now you cannot call timeout from the bench. Player has to call the timeout. And John Becker wanted a foul there. He wasn't going to get it.
John Becker now in his 7th season in Burlington. He's got an 83% winning percentage in conference games.
That's good, by the way.
That's pretty good, right?
I was
going to ask about that. Let's take a look at the timeout here called by
Watch
Bell.
it. You see KJ realizes he's trying to call timeout, and he's reaching in there. And the official did the right thing. He just gave him the timeout. There was no foul. You can't blame Josh White with a call there. You can't blame John Becker for wanting to get a foul on Mora whenever he can. In the Stony Brook game, UMBC jumped to a 15-point lead. KJ Mora committed his 2nd foul, went to the bench, and the lead was down to 6 by halftime. The reason it was 6 was because Joe Sherburne hit a 3 at the buzzer.
28-foot three-point shot. By the way, you talk about Becker. His team's in February. We're in February, right?
Yes, we are.
39
My
and 7.
daughter pointed that out to me on Thursday.
Pretty good mark for John Becker.
Not bad. UMBC in the zone. Now the shot clock is down to 3 here.
They get it off at the buzzer and swish it in from the corner. It's Ernie Duncan.
Tough shot there by Duncan just before the buzzer. And now I'm not sure why the officials are stopping it. Nobody called timeout. The clock should have kept running because we're in the last minute of the first half. Watch here. Goes up with the ball. Shot goes in. Now, maybe it was because the ball was touched by a Vermont player coming through the basket. And that's why they stopped the clock. Not 100% sure. But that helped, actually, UMBC, because it basically gives them a timeout and stop the clock. If this clock doesn't stop, it's going to be down to about 3 before they get the ball in bounds. So whatever happened there was a break for UMBC, and Ryan Odom now has a chance to draw up a play with 5 seconds to go.
And that's exactly what he's doing. You see it in the middle of your screen.
If I'm John Becker, I'm not happy at all with this delay.
Take a look at the clock here.
See, it kept running. It's supposed to run, and then it was, I don't know who stopped it, whether the scoreboard scorer's table stopped it, or whether it stopped because a Vermont player touched the ball coming through the hoop.
See it once again.
You see the shot, and I think, okay, this is what they're looking at. Did he get it off before the shot, the 30-second clock? I think he did. I think he had about a second to spare. Because there was a 4-second difference between shot clock and game clock, and the shot went off in with 5.2 left.
And we never heard a buzzer.
No, there shouldn't have been shouldn't have been a buzzer because the shot clock didn't come up. Rob Snedden's going to explain it.
Come over here, we'll get the explanation, and we'll deliver it to you. 2.7 seconds now they've put on the clock.
Okay, Rob Snedden just explained to me the clock stopped erroneously because it's this first half, not the second half. So they took it down to 2:07. I said they'd get it inbounds with about 3 seconds left, so that's correct. They got to be careful there.
That's tipped out of bounds.
That's a break.
Big break
for UMBC, because if it had gone out of bounds untouched, Vermont would have gotten it back underneath their basket. Now UMBC, because it was touched, will get it out of bounds underneath their basket. Ward touched it, knocked it out of bounds while he and Mora were going for it. Now with 1.5 left, UMBC should be able to get off a decent shot here. Everybody's got to play for this situation.
They bring in Petty to guard the inbounder.
Big guy there. Good move.
Mora looking.
Did they call 5 seconds? Yeah, they called 5 seconds. They were looking for a screen underneath or to get it to Lamar in the corner. Lamar was well guarded, and they also did a nice job anticipating the screen so they couldn't get the ball in bounds in 5 seconds. So now 1.5 left, and Vermont would need to go the length of the court to try to score.
And the Retrievers will put their tallest player on the inbound.
Which you should always do. And it's knocked down, and that'll be halftime.
Grant at the buzzer, it wouldn't count anyway, and Vermont takes a 7-point lead at the half. A game of runs early, John, and some even play throughout, but you can see the experience level that the Catamounts bring.
Last run was for Vermont, and that got them the 7-point margin going into halftime.
It's Vermont 39, UMBC 32 at the break. Lyles with 16, Traybell Haynes with 12 for the Catamounts. And right now, Vermont shooting 60% from the field, 15 of 25. Let's send it down to Paul Mittermeier, standing by with Ryan Odom. Guys?
Coach, they got out quick. What did you guys do? What was the difference defensively to get you guys back in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we started out okay. We just missed a couple of shots. We missed a couple of bunnies around the rim. That puts your defense at a disadvantage. We switched to the zone. That slowed the game down a little bit on this end and helped us get back in it. We started getting some rebounds and then scoring a little bit in transition.
How concerned were you about being a little too amped up with the new arena? How do you guys think you came through that first half?
Yeah, I mean, that's to be expected. I mean, anytime you have an event like this, I mean, it's pretty difficult to kind of, be yourself. And, our guys, I thought it did a nice job with it, as the half wore on.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
All right, thanks.
Guys.
Paul, Ryan, thank you. 39-32 at the break. Vermont leading by 7. UMBC at second place in the conference. The Catamounts in first. We'll come back with halftime right after this on ESPN3.
No matter why you check in, family vacation, college reunion, business meeting, a girls-only weekend, a friend's wedding, or just some well-deserved rest, you'll discover the convenience of the hotels at BWI.
And while you're there, shop, play, and cheer. Find it all at the hotels at BWI.
The America East Women's Basketball Championship in Portland. Coming back to Maine, especially Portland, being so close to family, was an amazing feeling. The atmosphere was phenomenal. Maine has a great support system, especially towards basketball. Portland is a great area. I'm not far from it. There's such great scenery. I love visiting there.
Visit Portland for the 2018 America East Women's Basketball Tournament, March 3rd and 4th at the Cross Insurance Arena. Tickets are on sale now.
Hey, Portland, we'll see you in March.
It's a great time to be a fan when you can come into Buffalo Wild Wings and catch the best moments in sports. Unlike in Roman times, when you could become the sport.
Is this Section G?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Ow. Get the ultimate sports experience at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Food for thought.
It's more than a common phrase.
It's the intellectual nourishment that surrounds us at the University of Vermont.
Those ideas.
That atmosphere, those classes that get us up in the morning.
And keep us up at night. Food for thought connects us to other hungry thinkers. Thinkers who will change your world. Like this one.
Or even this one.
All the food for thought in the world is on the menu at the University of Vermont.
Let's dig in.
Halftime at the UMBC Event Center in Baltimore, Maryland, and the Retrievers trailing the Catamounts by 7 at the break, 39-32. Trey Bell Haynes leads the way for Vermont with 12. Jairus Lyles is high for UMBC with 16. We'll be back with the Grit Awards, a chance to meet our Retriever Scholar athlete when we return right after this.
Simon says stop, hands up, no, go. Simon says hands up, hands down. Nice. Oh, go. Yeah. They are dropping like flies. Simon says hands down. Simon says hands on stomach. Simon says bend over like this. Stand up straight. Nice. Stand up straight. Good. Stand up straight. Nice. Stand up straight. Good. Simon says stand up straight. Hands up. Simon says hands up. Hands down. Hands down. Good. Simon says hands down. Nice. Come a little bit closer, please. A little bit closer. A little bit closer. A little bit closer. A little bit closer. Yeah. Nice. Simon says, come a little bit closer. Simon says, stop. All right, so we have weeded out, you just got, Simon,
Oh, it's all about you, isn't it? We've weeded out the terrible listeners. You guys are really good, so what do? We pick up the pace. Simon's hands up, Simon's hands down, Simon's run, Simon's stop, hands up, you're out, you're out. No, you're in, you're out. Yeah, you went halfway, you're touching yourself. Go, here we go. Simon's hands up, hands down, and hands down. Ooh, there you go. Simon's hands down, nice. You two, Simon's face each other, go. What's so confusing, man? Simon's look at each other. Simon says a big, give each other a mean, we're gonna beat Vermont face. Go, mean, go. Simon says shake hands, wish each other good luck. Simon says hands down, face me please, face me. Ooh, that was a close one, Fuzzy, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a close one, yeah. Simon says face me. Here we go. Simon says put up your left hand. Simon says wave it around. Simon says stop, right hand up, both hands up, both hands up. Yes, you have a question? Simon says both hands up, Simon says both hands down. Hands up, Simon says hands up, hands down, hands down. Yeah. Simon says hands down. Here we go. Simon says run, Simon says stop, Simon says big jump. Woo, that's it, one more. Woo, hands up, no. Look at you! Simon says, what's your name? Michael. Stay here. Here we go.
Welcome back to halftime here at the Event Center. Our score, Vermont 39, UMBC 32. Now time for our halftime feature called Grit Awards, where we get a chance to meet a Retriever Scholar athlete up close and personal. Today, let's meet from the women's basketball team, Chukwumo Chiamaka.
Well, first of all, when I got the award, I was like, what did I do? Like, it was surprising because I do not know what's requirements for you to get the award. So, but until I saw the slip that was inside the envelope, and I was like, okay, I think I merit this award. So at first I did not know what's got me there. So, but when I got into the envelope and I saw the requirement and what led me to that position, I was like, okay, I think that's good for me. Oh, integrity meant so much to me because integrity in the sense that your coaches don't have to be seeing you every time doing the right thing. Your teammate doesn't have to be seeing you every time to be doing the right thing. So you holding yourself accountable. You trying to better yourself in order for you to better others. Because if I don't better myself, there's no way I can talk to my teammates. There's no way my coaches can trust me. So I need to work hard. So integrity is just doing the thing back in the stage and doing them right. Yeah, that was so much important to me. Okay, being a Nigerian, basically I'm not into the movie stuff things, but I think I have a particular actress. Her name is Stephanie Okereke. She's very beautiful, and I'm beautiful too. She's tall, and I love her. I love the way she comports herself. I love the way she carries herself, and I think I would love her to be the person that will act my role. Her name is Stephanie Okereke. I would say a tiger. A tiger would be good because I work for what I want, and I really work so hard. And most of the time when I watch documentary, I see how tigers go grab those things, and that is the kind of person I am. I don't want things to be given to me. I really want to go grab them, even when it takes me a long time for me to get it. I don't care. I just want to make sure I am the one who will get it, not someone giving it to me for free.
And Chiamaka's squad ended up beating Vermont today 52-51 up in Burlington. And there you see the women's soccer and lacrosse teams playing Simon Says at the break. We'll see what John Feinstein has to say when we return with stats and highlights after this.
Simon says, Michael, this is for you. Simon says, this is for you. Simon says, I want to wish you all amazing wins here in your new event center. And Simon says, go big doors!
One more time for Steve Max and our Simon Says winners. Good afternoon, and for the first time, welcome to the UMBC Event Center. Today's sponsor of the game is Northwestern Mutual. You and Northwestern Mutual, stronger together. Retriever fans, it's time to announce the winner of an iPad from the UMBC Sports Marketing Open House Raffle. Zach McCord, congratulations, you are the lucky winner. Zach McCord, please report to the sports marketing table outside of section 100 to claim your prize. Once again, UMBC Athletics would like to thank media partner PressBox and Good Karma's ESPN Digital Media for their support of Retriever basketball. For great coverage of the Retrievers and all the Baltimore sports teams, log on to www.pressboxonline.com. Hey fans, do you want to become a Retriever insider? Then follow UMBC Athletics on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest news, photos, videos, and more. The men return home on Sunday, February 18th when they host Albany at the UMBC Event Center. Tip-off time is 1 p.m. The women's basketball team plays their grand opening game right here at the UMBC Event Center on Thursday, February 8th when they welcome Binghamton. Game time is 7 p.m. Under Armour is proud to outfit the UMBC Retrievers in the world's best footwear, uniforms, and training gear. Every single product we create is guaranteed to make athletes better. Visit UA.com today to see our full line of performance gear. And fans, a final score from Vermont. Your UMBC women's basketball team 52, Vermont 51.
Let's take a look at our first half highlights here as Vermont leads UMBC by 7.
And here you can see the kind of ball movement that makes Vermont so tough to guard. Urquhart inside once, passes back outside, then they move the ball inside. Then Bell Haynes, who's such a good scorer, but also moves the basketball well. And there he just makes a tough shot. That's one of those where you just say, nice going, and run back down the court. Most of UMBC's highlights, Jairus Lyles. 16 of the 32 points that the Retrievers scored in the first half were from Jairus Lyles. And as you can see in this little package, Gary, none of them were easy shots, least of all this three where he got fouled and went down as he made the shot. So Lyles with 16 points, 3 rebounds. Bell Haynes with 12 points and 2 rebounds. The difference right now is that Bell Haynes has gotten better shooting from his teammates. Look at the difference in field goals. 15 out of 25. That's 60% for Vermont. UMBC 9 for 22. Everything else pretty much even except the assists, 10-3, and that's why the shooting percentage is so high.
And when leading at the half this year, Vermont 13-0 on the season. Timeout coming your way. We'll come back with our second half when we return to the event center on the campus of UMBC right after this.
It's time for the second half. Let's hear it, Retriever Nation.
Bring them out, hey! Second half about to get underway here at the event center. Vermont leading by 7. It was a game of runs early, and then Vermont with a buzzer beater towards the end there, and they were able to extend the lead.
Yeah, they were, and again, they shot the ball so well, and that's a reflection of the way they moved the ball on offense. Ryan Odom said before the game, one of the keys was going to be for his team to have to play defense for 30 seconds on each possession, and you saw that with that last basket Ward made, where he literally made it at the 30-second buzzer, and that's what Ryan was talking about.
Let's send it down to Paul Mittermeier for more. Paul?
All right, guys, Coach Becker from Vermont talked about, staying out of foul trouble. Way too many fouls in that first half. And like every other coach says that comes to UMBC, they have to do a better job on Jairus Lyles than what they've done in that first half. He's pleased with their defensive effort. He expects them to keep the pressure on. They have to do a better job with the UMBC press.
And Payton Henson, Paul, is extending the Vermont lead now to 9 with that layup.
Caught at the top of the key, saw UMBC back in man-to-man and quickly took advantage of it. That's good recognition. And that's a foul there, I think, on Bell Haynes.
And if that is on Bell Haynes, that'll be number 2.
You see, no help there at all for Lamar. And a quick foul there for Bell Haynes, just his second, but it fits in with what John Becker was saying to Paul about trying to stay out of foul trouble. Very physical game here. I'm talking to Brandon Cruz, the lead official, and I said, tough game for you guys. Tough shot there by Lyles as he continues where he left off. He said, this is a kind of game where you have to make a decision on every possession as an official. And he said the fact that both coaches are complaining indicates they're doing a pretty good job. I would agree with that.
But John, the Retrievers are going to need more than just Jairus Lyles on offense to stay in this game. He's got 18 of their 34. That's better than 50%. Lyles commits the foul here on the drive from Ernie Duncan.
And again, it's not, John Becker's wrong about one thing. They're not doing a poor job on Lyles. All of his shots he's made have been defended very well. And it's not because they're not guarding him, it's because he's been very good. In fact, he's made 7 out of 10 now. The rest of the Retrievers are 3 for 13, to your point about needing more help. There they get a nice turnover.
Good help defense from Lamar creates that one, and the Retrievers now will try to cut into that 7-point deficit.
This is where a guy like Lamar or Sherburne heating up would be big help. That was kind of a touch foul. But that's what officials are told to call. There was contact, but goes back to one of my pet peeves again, Gary. There was no advantage there for the defender with the contact. Sherburne was still going to the basket, might have had a layup. But they stopped the game, take away the advantage from the offensive player because the NCAA has told them they have to call those fouls.
Sherburne was 1 for 7 up in Burlington from the field. He's 0 for 3 today. There's Lyles with a fancy one, but it goes out of bounds. Looks like it'll be off of Vermont.
It was off Vermont. Good hustle there by Aachen to get after that offensive board. See, he doesn't get an offensive rebound on that play, but he created an extra possession.
Aachen, though, has had a tough go of it in the first half against some bigger people, Urquhart and Henson, namely.
Well, and both seniors.
That is correct.
Experience is a big deal there, too.
Lamar kicks it out to Mara. Little pull-up from KJ Mara, and the smallest player on the court with a high arcing shot.
You just don't know how he does that, and he does it all the time. John Becker was saying, looking at tape of KJ Mora, you say, how can a guy this size be this dangerous at both ends of the court?
Mara now has trimmed the margin to 5. Here's Duncan with a line drive 3. Rebound Sherburne.
That's why it didn't go in, because it hit the front rim.
The leave behind for Sherburne.
That's Joe's shot, catch and shoot.
Sherburne now 0 for 8 from 3-point distance in the 2 games against Vermont.
And again, a lot of that is to Vermont's credit because that's as close to an uncontested shot as he's gotten, and that was not uncontested.
And keep in mind, Sherburne's a 45% 3-point shooter this year.
Well, and especially, as we've said many times, when he catches it in that shooting motion, he's way higher than that.
Great defense from UMBC. Lyles and Mara up ahead for Lyles now. Lamar with the take. Mara. Rebound, Vermont underneath.
They didn't convert, but right there was an example of Lyles' maturity as a senior. A year ago, he would have tried to go 1-on-2 to the basket and score there. Frustrated, though, because they didn't convert. Thinking he should have gone 1-on-2.
3 steals now in the game for KJ Morrow.
It's about his average, 2.7.
There's Urquhart on the low block with Akin, and Daniel Akin just not strong enough to keep up.
Well, and what he did was, because he was being backed into, he tried to take a charge, and the officials just weren't giving it to him. And I actually prefer that kind of officiating. I'm not big on taking charges. I think you play defense. You don't fall down.
Urquhart now in double digits with 11. Mara answers for UMBC.
Well, and you said somebody else needed to help Jairus Lyles out. KJ Moore is certainly giving it his best shot.
Well, that backcourt tandem, John, 29 of the 38 for UMBC.
And KJ Moore trying to get into Bell Haynes there. There's a nice pass, and a tough shot falling away by KJ Mora. And then he fouls on the way down court. That's only his first. That's another remarkable thing about KJ Mora. As physically as he plays opposing point guards, he's always trying to get into them and making steals, which he does. He rarely fouls. That was an exception on Wednesday when he got 2 fouls in the first half. Very unlike him.
Cam Ward back in the game for Vermont. Each team with 2 team fouls in the second half. Lyles and Mara have combined for 77%
nice block there
of the points.
by Lamar.
Lamar with a block. The next try is up and in and a foul. Great work for Vermont from Henson inside. And
that's
a chance for
that's experience, Gary. You get your shot blocked. You don't lose your poise. You get the ball back and score.
Retrievers trail it by 5. Let's watch the good work from Payton Henson underneath.
Retriever fans, please welcome to the floor your 2016-2017 conference champion UMBC swimming and diving teams. The women earned their 3rd straight American East crown last season, and Emily Escobedo was named American East Swimmer of the Year for the 4th straight year. Escobedo made her 4th trip to the NCAA Championships, where she earned All-American honors in the 3 events and broke school records in the 200 IM and 100 breast. On the men's side, they finished their time in the CCSA with a 3rd straight conference title, and Gregor Sportley was named the CCSA Swimmer of the Year. Both teams earned CSCAA Scholar All-American honors in both semesters last year. On the video board are some of the other individual and team accomplishments from last season, which include numerous gold medals and school records. Let's hear it for your 2016-2017 conference champion, UMBC swimming and diving teams.
Welcome back to the Event Center. I'm standing here with Amy Slade, the women's head lacrosse coach. Amy, first of all, what do you think of the building?
It's phenomenal. It's just the atmosphere. Everything is so great. We've been waiting for this, and we're very excited to be here.
You're known as a coach that's been committed to building a program to win consistently. Talk about those building blocks and what it takes to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the foundation lays with what your core values are and continuing to build and find kids that fit that mold, and that's what we've been doing here.
Amy, good luck this year.
Thank you so much.
Got it. Guys?
And Paul, they open up in a few days, February 20th at home against LIU Brooklyn.
I'm sure the weather will be just delightful.
That is one of the things, man. Lacrosse is just getting earlier and earlier. No doubt.
Everything's earlier and earlier in sports.
Meanwhile, the Retrievers have an issue on their hands. They're trailing the best team in the conference by 7, and they've got the basketball at the free throw line.
And again, as we said, this is not a team that's going to, this is a great crowd here, but they're not going to lose their poise because of this crowd. They opened their season in Rupp Arena and lost by 4. So you do that. You know, they played at St. Bonaventure, which is a very tough place to play. They won at Harvard, and that doesn't sound like much, but Harvard's very good, and they sell the building out. They're not going to lose their poise. The Retrievers are going to have to beat them. They're not going to beat themselves.
Three-point play by Henson gives Vermont an 8-point lead. Lyles tries to create
I think
along
that's
the baseline.
3 on Bell Haynes, if I've got it right. Yeah, that's 3 on Bell Haynes. Just a little reach in here. Tries to get the ball, got the ball, got a lot of body while he was at it.
Bell Haynes, the guard for Vermont, the first player to get to 3 fouls.
Looks like he's going to come out. Wonder how long he will come out for. Vermont is a deep team, but he is their best player. And there's a nice floater by Joe Sherburne. See if that'll get him going. Yeah.
And that'll trim the margin to 6. Sherburne with his parents and brother in attendance this afternoon from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin.
Wonder
The
if they
frozen
drove.
tundra, or close to it.
Tundra means frozen ground.
So I
said
it twice.
For you Chris Berman fans, it's a redundancy.
But you still have
It's
to
like
say.
saying, no, you don't. It's like saying revert back. Revert means to go back. Knock in there with a push in the back. Urquhart and Henson are both really tough guards in the low post for UMBC because they're big, they're strong, they're smart, they're experienced. And UMBC with young, smaller, big guys struggling to keep them under control in that low post.
You see Ryan Odom with a word with Daniel Locken.
Trying to teach him on the fly how to guard in the low post. Not easy to do.
Nolan Garrity, the junior out of Cleveland, is back in the basketball game. Here's a mismatch.
He got 2 quick fouls in the first half, both trying to guard in the low post.
7 to shoot. Seth Smith with the drive and the give and the slam for Urquhart.
That's an awfully pretty pass for a freshman. And Vermont now showing a 2-3 zone here.
Just the way John Becker drew it up.
That is the way John Becker drew it up.
Jordan Grant with a miss off the drive. And now Vermont with an 8-point lead and the basketball. Just over 14 minutes left in this one.
UMBC needing to do a better job recognizing that zone and get in the seams in the zone.
Mara getting in the passing lane
Good
there.
defense there by Garrity.
Here's Henson with Sherburne. Takes on Garrity and Sherburne, and now it's a double-digit margin.
And another example of what Ryan Odom was talking about before the game, about having to play defense for 30 seconds. 3 seconds on the shot clock there. Vermont doesn't panic at all when the shot clock's under 10. Nice pass, Sherburne couldn't finish. They're used to the clock being under 10 when they're in half court, Gary. Sorry about that. They're comfortable with it. Most teams, when it gets under 10, they start to get a little twitchy.
This pace is all Vermont.
A team that gives up 58.8 points per game. You're right about that.
Ernie Duncan with a big 3.
Ryan Odom's got to call timeout because this game's about to get out of hand.
13-point margin. It was 7 at the break. And now all of a sudden Vermont cannot be stopped, shooting 63% from the field. The penetration and the slam. Vermont Catamounts on a 7-0 run in the last minute 24. They've extended their lead to 13 over UMBC. But the proud Papa, John Feinstein, is in attendance this afternoon.
Yeah, Dave and Lynn Odom there, proud parents of Ryan. And, of course, Dave had an amazing career as a college coach. I first met him when he was the coach at Durham High School when I was an undergraduate. And then he went on to coach at East Carolina, was at Virginia as an assistant during the Ralph Sampson era, then had huge success at Wake Forest, recruited Tim Duncan, went on to South Carolina, produced Ryan, his brother Lane, who's also in basketball. They look a little tense right now, down 13, I think it's fair to say. I hope they were able to get in the parking lot easier than Ryan, because I was on the phone with Ryan at 10:30 this morning when he pulled up to the parking lot. The guard had no idea who he was. He said, "I'm Coach Odom," and the guard said, "From where?" And Ryan said, "UMBC." It's a new building.
I got to get in and coach this basketball game.
That's what he said. I need to get in because otherwise I can't coach the game. And they did get him in, of course.
Little turnaround pop by Morrow again. Then KJ has heated up in the second half.
Well, KJ Moore right now is keeping UMBC within striking distance in this game. And Vermont, you know, the last few possessions, I don't think UMBC's played bad defense. Now they change it up going to that trap. And that's kind of a bailout foul there.
Call that one on Jordan Grant right in front of us.
And it looked like it was going to be a steal or a travel as he goes down. Let's see if there's contact. There was contact, but I don't know if that was, I would have called that foul.
And that is the first personal on Grant.
As Brandon Cruz said to me at halftime, you can make a decision on foul or no foul on every single possession in this game. What I was saying a minute ago is Vermont's just run really good offense.
Cam Ward with an open look, left-handed three.
Good inside-outside balance. They find the open shooters on the perimeter, and when they don't do that, they get it inside very effectively with those two big guys. It's just a very good basketball team.
The lead back up to 14 now for Vermont. There's Lyles with a rainmaker.
We needed that one.
Jarris now with 21.
It's only the 4th-3 of the game for UMBC.
4 of 12, Vermont 6 of 13.
They usually average about 11 a game. Another open three. But good job by Garrity getting there to make it a little bit of a defended shot. That made a big difference, I think.
And Sherburne with the rebound.
I don't know how Mora got to that pass, but he did.
Lyles.
UMBC could have used that one, get back in single digits. You can't knock a possession where you get a shot for your best player. Good defense there by Lyles.
A lot of contact, no call. And out of bounds off of Ernie Duncan.
There's Mora again doing his Mora thing.
11:38 left to play in this one. The battle of the three-pointers. It's Ward for Vermont. And guess who for UMBC?
Okay, what did John say? Looking for a what? Oh. And then one more time. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, UMBC Athletics would like to offer a special welcome to Naomi Baru, the first Rhodes Scholar in UMBC history.
Welcome back to the Event Center. I'm with America East Commissioner Amy Huxthausen. Amy, What a day for the America East.
Yeah, it's really fantastic to be here to open the UMBC Event Center. The crowd, you can hear them now. They're so excited to be here, and I'm thrilled to be part of this historic day.
Talk about the footprint that the America East is making on college athletics, because not just about arenas, but with the video, with the ESPN3, and everything they're doing to become one of the most prominent conferences in the country.
Yeah, I'm really proud of what our schools have been able to do over the last few years in terms of focusing their efforts on branding their institutions, helping brand the conference, and it's things like this, new facilities that really help promote the league in our schools.
Well, Amy, welcome to Baltimore, and you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Guys?
Paul and Amy, thank you. While the interview was going on with the commissioner, they were introducing Naomi Mburu here, a student at UMBC. She is the first Rhodes Scholar ever from UMBC and attended the State of the Union address last week.
Well, she's 1 for 2. I was a Rhodes Scholar too, you know, ROADS. I knew a lot about the roads around my college. But
the roads and the boulevards, right?
Exactly.
John, I can confidently say you're one of a kind, and I love it.
For better or worse. But that's a great accomplishment, being a Rhodes Scholar. And absolutely a great accomplishment.
Garrity with the tip, but it doesn't go for the Retrievers, and now the Catamounts with the basketball and an 11-point lead. Belle Haynes is back in the game for Vermont.
I would have liked for Paul to ask Amy when they're going to get a 10th team in the America East. 9's an awkward number. It means one team has to sit out the tournament.
That one rims out and a foul underneath. Looks like it'll be on Vermont away from the ball, I believe on Henson.
I'll bet you there's a bunch of schools that would like to join this conference.
This is definitely an up-and-coming conference. Let's take a look.
See this foul here.
Henson pushing Sherburne to the ground.
Yeah. Sherburne's smart play there, felt the contact and said, well, if I go down, they almost have to call it.
You know, in terms of this conference, John, I mean, you talked about it. Kentucky was lucky to get away with a 4-point win over Vermont.
Yep.
Both teams, there are 2 teams in the conference, both of these that have beaten Northern Kentucky, which was a tournament team last year.
And is in very good shape to go back to the tournament again this year.
Here's Belle Haynes after the UMBC miss.
Vermont also beat Bradley, one of the better teams in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Bradley Braves, Hersey Hawkins, right?
Hersey Hawkins was a great shooter. Got a lot of ball, but body too. Let's see who he called it on. Did he call it on Sherburne, or did he call it on the reach in there? I mean, he called it on Lyles reaching in, and let's just say Jairus Lyles doesn't agree with the call. I think Brandon Cruz, by the way, is a real up-and-comer as an official. I'll bet serious money he'll be in the NCAA tournament this year. Young official, really good. Good demeanor. Demeanor's so important in an official. All 3 of these guys have a good demeanor. Worked a good game. I know UMBC fans didn't like that call.
Garrity sits down. That free throw, by the way, by Belle Haynes was his first point of the second half. So they've extended the lead without his offense.
Well, and that's why they're so good. They don't need one guy necessarily to dominate. He got them off to a great start with their first 10 points after UMBC went up 4-0. But since then, they've had incredible balance. They've gotten production off the bench. This is a team that I wouldn't want to meet as a 3 or 4 seed in the NCAA tournament if they make it.
Nate Rohr checks in for Vermont. Here's Morrow with a little pop stop in the lane. That went off.
That's his specialty, but didn't go down.
Rebound comes down to
Everett Duncan. He thought he got pushed. He thought the reason that ball went right was because he got pushed in that direction. There's going to be contact, though. And there's contact there.
And Urquhart will go to the line for Vermont.
And one of the problems for UMBC is when those 2 big guys, Urquhart and Henson, catch the ball inside, you've got problems. Because if you double them, they're good enough passers to find the shooters on the perimeter, which they've done several times. If you don't double them, they're almost impossible to guard.
You know, we were talking with some UMBC coaches before the game and just looking at the Vermont team in general. They don't have any spectacular stats. Nobody leads the league really in anything.
No.
And in this game, they haven't done anything exceptionally well.
But they've done everything well.
Yeah,
exactly right. They did miss a free throw there.
Vermont was, to your point, by the way, Vermont faced the number 4 seed last year, Purdue, in the tournament. That was a great first-round game. They lost by 10.
Wow, did you see the hands on Ryan Odom there?
Yeah, he's got
I
some
wonder
hands.
if we've got that on replay. He was a guard. Watch this. Watch Ryan Odom with that catch. And he never paused.
Looks like he can still play.
I bet he could still shoot. According to, well, and that's, oh, that hurt. The foul was on Urquhart, but he got hit in the stomach there by Grant. Yes, Urquhart commits the foul here. That's a classic block, but the right hand of Grant caught him right in the stomach. Tony Shaver, Ryan Odom's coach in college, said he was a great shooter, but not too much on defense.
Urquhart with the board here. Meanwhile, Vermont, again, not spectacularly, has built the lead back up to 14.
Well, and UMBC has been one and done almost every possession this half. If they don't make their first shot, they're done. And Vermont has shot the ball extremely well in this game. What are they shooting for the game, Gary?
63%.
They've gone up since halftime when they were 60%. That's what you call efficient.
This will send Ernie Duncan to the line again, the 6'3" guard from Evansville.
And
Ernie Duncan, I'm sorry.
They just missed their first free throw a minute ago.
You know, Ernie Duncan graduated from his high school, Harrison High School in Evansville, as the all-time leading scorer in that school's history. The next year, his brother passed him.
Yeah, and then the third brother may be the best of the three, who's coming next year. So the law firm of Duncan and Duncan will be leading Vermont next year. Sort of like the old Bugs Bunny cartoon, where he plays all the positions. And you'll have a Duncan in just about every position. 2-3 zone for Vermont, which has really given the Retrievers trouble here. That's a good shot there, but it's right. Sherburne really struggling today from outside. Unusual for him. But again, that's a credit to Vermont because they always get to the shooter. They may not block the shot, but they've got a hand up.
Sherburne in 2 games against Vermont, 0 for 9 from downtown. Ernie Duncan makes it an 18-point lead.
This is just a very efficient team. You have to admire Vermont.
Lamar.
Again, Retrievers quick shooting a little bit now, which is understandable, down 18 with a little more than 8 minutes to go.
Retrievers have really gotten nothing from their offensive players outside of Lyles and Mara.
Yep, the 2 guards. And what John Becker said this morning, he said, we want to go in there. We're not going to be overwhelmed by the moment, obviously, and we want to ruin their day. And they've done it thus far. Great play by Mora there. 4th steal of the game.
Ernie Duncan with the foul.
Ryan Odom is arguing for an intentional, that he had a clear path to the basket. See if they're going to look at it. Right now, they've just called it a foul, a common foul. Ryan Odom is saying he had a clear path, in which case, if they found it to be that, they'd go 2 shots in the ball. I think they're going to look at it while we're in break.
11:38 left to go in this one. Vermont all over UMBC by 18.
For tonight's Buffalo Wild Wings Tic-Tac-Toe Contest, sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings of Arundel, Maryland. Our team contestants will start half court and race to make a layup and pick up their first marker. Then they will race back to center court to place their marker on the board. The first contestant to get 3 in a row, or whoever has the most pieces on the board after 45 seconds, wins a $25 Buffalo Wild Wings gift certificate. On your mark, get set, go! There's a marker on the board for both. John strikes again for Team Black. Caleb with the block.
Welcome back to the Event Center. I'm with Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. Nancy Young. And Dr. Young, Retriever Soccer Park has been known as a great place to watch a sporting event. The Event Center is living up to that reputation now as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We are so excited. We've had record crowds at our soccer park. And if you just look around today, we've probably hit a new high with our basketball. And we're looking forward to doing this over and over.
Talk to me not just about the student athlete, but every student at UMBC, what this Event Center means as part of the psyche and everything else that goes along with the university.
It's great. We've had a really rich student life, but there hasn't been a space where it's visible. So not only will this let us build, it is also going to let the really great stuff that's already happening be visible because we've got this amazing space. I was talking to an alum uptown. He was saying, I don't mean to say it this way, but space matters. And when you look at the beauty of this facility, the crowds that we've got today, it's just a game changer.
Dr. Young, congratulations and good luck with the Event Center.
Thanks so much for having it.
Guys?
Well, to her point, Dr. Young, 4,753, a sellout this afternoon, and it's a new UMBC basketball record.
Well, I would guess so, since you couldn't get 4,753 into the rack.
That is true. But meanwhile, Vermont has played a great basketball game.
They're just so fundamentally sound. There you see the pretty pass by Smith, the nice drive and hook there by Urquhart.
And Duncan then putting it in for Vermont. Traybell Haynes is high for Vermont with 14 along with Urquhart, so the 28 points combined for those two.
Yeah, and I broke off there for a minute just to get confirmed from official Josh White, because they did go to look at it to see if it was a flagrant one when KJ Moore was trying to break away from that steal, and it wasn't. They didn't say it. Well, I agree with that call. It was just a foul. But they did check it at Ryan Odom's request.
Here's Mara inside the lane, gives off to Lyles, a clean look.
That's a shot you got to make if you're going to rally from this far down.
It'll stay with UMBC, and a new shot clock here for the Retrievers.
Nice. No, I think they're giving the ball to Vermont. Yeah. That was good play by Mora, getting in the lane and finding Lyles open for a 12-footer. He just couldn't get it to go down.
The ball was out of bounds off Lamar. So it's Vermont basketball. They're in control right now, leading by 18 with about 7.5 left to play in this one.
And this is a time in the game when their patience is such a huge advantage because, as Ryan Odom pointed out, they can run the shot clock down and not get nervous about it.
Lyles had 16 in the first half, but he's been held to only 5 here in the second.
And they made the extra pass, find the open shooter with 4 seconds on the shot clock. That is a classic Vermont possession.
Payton Henson, who can do it both inside and outside. And now you're looking at a 21-point lead with 7 minutes left.
Again, I think Ryan Odom's going to have to gamble here and press off of made baskets to have any chance to rally. Because if they let Vermont just run 15 or 20 seconds per possession, there's not going to be a chance to come back. Foul there on the floor, but it's only no, it is the 7th on Vermont.
Foul away from the ball on Everett Duncan.
Well, the good news is it's a shooting foul if you're UMBC. The bad news if you're UMBC is it's Dan Ocken at the line, 1-1, who shoots under 50%.
Urquhart checks back in for Vermont. Rohr sits down.
He's also already missed the front end of a 1-on-1 in the first half, so he's due to make one. Except he didn't.
Not this time.
That's why you're the stats guy, Gary.
Yeah, leave it to me.
Yeah,
okay?
You take care of the stats.
2 points, 4 rebounds for Dan Ocken.
Sorry about that, Gary. One stat worth mentioning. Vermont is now 9 of 13 from the field in this half after shooting 60% in the first half. That's just remarkable.
The Retrievers are under 33%.
6 out of 19, I believe. That's a foul.
Bell Haynes, good movement inside, and he got the low block on Mara. And Traybell Haynes will go to the line. That's 2 fouls on KJ Mora.
And that's the one way you can take advantage of KJ Mora's size, if you can get a switch where he has to match up in the low post with somebody. Because unless he gets his hands in there on the ball, as he tried to do, he can't really defend a guy that much taller than he is, especially when he's as efficient offensively as Traybell Haynes, who then bricks the first free throw. Have I said anything today that was correct?
Well, today's no different than any other day.
That's true.
The answer's no.
Okay, the score is 66-45.
That's correct.
That's 1.
Yeah, but we got 6 minutes left in the game.
I didn't say it was the final.
Misses both.
That's shocking. They were 11 of 12 from the line before that.
That'll be a turnover UMBC.
And again, that's a mark of Vermont's defense, because Arkel Lamar looked like he had an open three, but then a defender runs up at him. He passes on the three, tries to pass the ball back, and nobody's expecting him to pass the ball because normally he'd shoot from there, and they end up with a turnover.
That's the 10th turnover against UMBC. Lamar just 2 points in the game, both from the line. He's been held without a field goal on 3 attempts.
He's still not 100% with that ankle. It's good enough he can play, but he's not 100%.
There's Belhanes.
Good hands in there. 11 on the shot clock. And that's a non-panic situation for Vermont, as we've pointed out.
The Retrievers came into this building with 11 straight wins at home this year, 11-0.
After today, are they going to want to go back to the rack?
Well, I don't know if they'll want to go back.
I don't think the option's there.
A little hook from Lamar, I believe.
I've seen the new locker room. They're not going back to the rack.
So back to the line here goes Henson.
That's 10 team fouls on UMBC, so every time they foul the rest of the game, it'll be 2 free throws. Still only 7 for Vermont, so they've got 2 more one-on-ones to go, potentially. UMBC does.
Payton Henson from Siloam Springs, Arkansas, is a transfer from Tulane. Played 2 years at there, 64 games for the Green Wave.
And transferred after the coaching change, and John Becker's very glad to have him, 5th-year senior.
It's now a 23-point lead for the Cats. So all things being equal, their conference winning streak will go to 30.
30 regular season wins and 28 overall.
Open look for Lamar.
That's one you expect Lamar to make, isn't it?
And he's still 0 from the field.
It's been a struggle. I don't think UMBC has played poorly on defense. I just think Vermont's been amazingly good, and I think Vermont's defense has gotten UMBC frustrated to the point where they're now missing shots they would normally make. Dean Smith used to say, another beautiful pass there, great drop step. The other team gives scholarships too, and John Becker's giving them the good players.
The lead is now ballooned to 25. Lyles with 24.
Got a squared up look and was able to make it. Lyles has played well. He's missed a couple shots in this half, but can't expect him to shoot 1,000.
I mean, there have been some games, John, between these two squads over the years as part of this 22-game winning streak for Vermont against UMBC. I mean, some of the scores by 30, by 40, by 45. Yeah. Of late, UMBC has played much better against Vermont, but the Cats are just schooling them right now.
And that's a good phrase.
And again, it's not as if UMBC has played poorly in this game.
No, I don't think they've really played badly. I think, as I said, Vermont has just run textbook offense. They've made all their shots. And on the other end, they played good defense to the point where UMBC's missing shots. Look, the reason that was called a block, not a charge, I know it's frustrating for Jordan Grant, is because he stepped up into the offensive player. He wasn't waiting for him. He stepped up into him. If we have another replay, I can show you what I mean, but that was a good call. It looked like initially a block, especially if you're a UMBC fan sitting behind us, because he was squared up to the shooter, but he stepped into him. That's why it's a block.
Max Curran and Josh Rosario, the freshman from Miami Christian High School, check in for UMBC. Lamar and Grant sit down for Ryan Odom. 2 free throws for Belhanes, and the lead is 24. Curran fouled on the rebound with 3:58 to play. Vermont with 30 points in the paint in this game. And a couple of them right here from Urquhart.
Fans, please welcome to the court, Colleen for today's 55-inch HDTV putting challenge, presented by Northwestern Mutual. Colleen will have 4 putts for a chance to win some great UMBC prizes. And if Colleen sinks a full court putt, she will take home a 55-inch flat screen HDTV. All right, Colleen, all you have to do is hit anywhere on the box to win a UMBC water bottle. And she's done. She got it in the hole as well. You've won a UMBC water bottle. Let's go on the half court. That's a double prize, actually. Hit anywhere on the box and you'll take home our Retriever's backpack. The Retriever Nation backpack. Let's go over to the far free throw line. Again, hit anywhere on the box, and you'll take home a pair of UMBC sunglasses. And she's got it. All right, fans, this is the big one. 1 putt, full court, HDTV on the line.
Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Quiet, please.
Now time for today's play of the game, presented by the hotels at BWI. And a lot of inside play for Vermont in this game. Urquhart, the beneficiary there.
Well, and you see Smith, who's just a freshman, with that pretty pass, very heads up, knowing where his receiver is. And that's an example there of why this program's so good. You see a freshman passing to a senior. The seniors will graduate. Vermont will still be very good a year from now.
Play of the game is presented by the hotels at BWI. Log on to UMBCHotels.com. These fine hotels have created special overnight rates exclusive to UMBC athletic supporters, fans, and alumni. The Vermont Catamounts came in 18-5 on the year in the midst of an 11-game winning streak. I don't think anybody in attendance this afternoon can plainly see why.
And again, there were a remarkable number of streaks that they're working on right now. This will be 28 straight America East wins, 30 straight America East regular season wins, 12 straight wins this season, as you mentioned, 23 straight wins over UMBC, and 8 straight road wins this season. All of those, just one of those numbers is remarkable, and that put in all 5, and you kind of go, wow.
Rosario with a miss. Now it was Curran trying to keep it alive, and it's a foul on Vermont underneath.
Good job. Curran's come in and drawn 2 fouls here, going after offensive rebounds. You grasp at straws a little bit when you're down 24, but Ryan Odom's got to look for something to feel good about here. And Curran's come in and give him a little bit of life. And, of course, misses the front end of the 1-and-1 because that's what UMBC does.
Henson on the rebound.
3 1-and-1s for UMBC, and they converted none in this half. I think they had 1 in the first half and didn't convert it.
This Vermont program is clearly the #1 program in the conference. They have the most wins ever in the conference as Henson lays it up in it.
Well, Albany has certainly had its moments in recent years. Stony Brook had some good moments, but Vermont is always there. They're always a factor every year. And that dates back to Tom Brennan turning the program around in the early 2000s.
Lyles with an open look.
Nice knock back there by KJ Moore. Again, I'm always amazed how he gets his hand on the basketball. Nice move, but couldn't finish. That kind of defines UMBC's day, doesn't it?
Yep.
I mean, really pretty move by Jairus Lyles. A reverse layup that he normally would make, just doesn't go in.
This Vermont program has had 7 Player of the Year awards in the last 15 years, 6 Rookie of the Year awards in the last 15 years. And I mentioned last year they had 4 players get Player of the Year honors in Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, 6th Man of the Year, Rookie of the Year.
Well, the Rookie of the Year speaks to the depth of their program and how one group of seniors moves out, another group moves in. They replenish very well.
Brandon Horvath checks in, the freshman for UMBC.
And they recruit now to that tradition. We're going to be part of the deal in the America East every year. We're going to go to NCAA tournaments. We're going to play postseason. Patrick Gym is one of the great atmospheres in all of college basketball.
And you just saw Seth Smith, number 0, checking in for Trey Bell Haynes. He's going to be the heir apparent to Trey Bell Haynes, and he's a terrific player.
Well, we've seen it today in his brief time on the court. And right now, Trey Bell Haynes has to be the favorite for Player of the Year, because if they go undefeated, or even if somebody beats him and they go 15-1, they have to be, he's the best player on the best team. He's the Player of the Year.
If he gets it, he'd have 2 in a row. As Lyles hits a 3, he's got 27. This is a program, John, that in Taylor Coppenrath back in the early 2000s boasted a 3-time Player of the Year.
And he was a great college player. And T.J. Sorrentine, who was the point guard on those teams, was a great college player. That was the group that beat Syracuse in the NCAA tournament.
That is correct. And this is the group that's going to beat UMBC this afternoon.
And as I said, I think there'll be a tough out for somebody. Given their non-conference schedule, if they end up, winning out, they're a long way from that. But they should be no worse than a 13 seed, maybe a 12, if they win out, which is a ways off. But if they can do that, given their non-conference schedule, they ought to be a 12 or a 13. Now, John Becker's going to put in at the end of his bench and his walk-ons here.
Take a look at
another pretty pass leading to a high percentage shot. And the Vermont fans, and they do travel, the Vermont people.
You see a lot of green.
Giving their team a well-deserved ovation for really a superbly played game. I would bet John Becker will say that they have not played any better than this all season. And what Ryan Odom is going to say to his team when he shows them the tape tomorrow is, fellas, this is where we have to get. If we want to win this conference, this is who we have to be.
Inside for War. And it's a 27-point game. This is a program that has been to the postseason in 13 of the last 16 years, and in that, 6 NCAA tournaments.
That's what I mean about them always being around the top of the league. And that Vermont upset of Syracuse in 2005 in Worcester. I was at that game. One of the great games. They beat them in overtime. And the great moment in the game came with Vermont up 1 with about 35 seconds to go. They couldn't run the clock out. T.J. Sorrentine, the point guard, is dribbling near midcourt. The clock gets under 10. Tom Brennan gets up and says to Sorrentine, run red, just to get in the lane and create. And Sorrentine goes, Coach, I got it. And he shoots a 25-footer and makes it. Speaking of which,
Seth Smith, the freshman phenom from Toronto, Ontario. 81-53.
Amazing the number of good players who come out of Canada in the last 10 years.
Vermont closing this game out, John, with a 25-8 run.
Wow. And again, they put on a clinic. They've opened this building with a clinic. Another nice pass, setting up an emphatic dunk by a guy who's pretty deep on the bench. Really pretty pass. And now they're not going to shoot, and the retrievers aren't going to foul. And Ryan Odom there with his hands in his pockets, getting ready to go over to John Becker and say, too good today, my man, too good.
81-53 your final. Vermont still in control of the America East. They'll move to 9-0 atop the America East standings, and there's a bunch of teams fighting for second, third, and fourth in home court advantage. The teams exchange handshakes. John Becker doing it for Vermont, followed by one of his former players, Kyle Saplicki. And here it is, John, UMBC falling to 7-3. But look, there's only one loss separating 4 teams after Vermont.
That's exactly right. Vermont is clearly in control of the league now. They're ahead of everybody by 3 games in the loss column and 4 games beyond UMBC and Hartford. They're going to win the regular season. The battle is going to be for 2, 3, and 4 for those home court spots the first round of the tournament.
Vermont closing out UMBC. The Retrievers only able to make 3 field goals in the last 12 minutes of this game. And again, Vermont closing out on a 25-5 run. and closing out UMBC in this one. So the Retrievers' 11-game home winning streak is over. UMBC 16-9 on the year. They shot only 36% from the field.
And look at Vermont, 29 of 44. That's unbelievable. They basically made 2 out of every 3 shots they took, and that's because they took such good shots and because they passed the ball so well. Look at the assists, 19-9. 19 assists on 29 baskets. That's really good basketball.
And dominating inside points in the paint.
Again, that gets to the passing even more than the rebounding, because the rebounding wasn't a huge difference in the game. You see that Vermont out-rebounded UMBC 30-24, so it was really good passing that set up all those points in the paint.
All Vermont in the second half this afternoon. Let's head downstairs to the sideline as John Becker standing by with Paul Mittermeier. Paul?
Thanks, guys. Coach, great win for you guys today. First of all, talk about the effort and just the defensive effort that you guys put in getting out on the threes and closing those guys out.
Yeah, they're a really good three-point shooting team, and we're in foul trouble, so we had to go zone second half, which we don't like to do, but we did a good job of matching to their shooters, making them make twos. Foul trouble kind of forced our hand, but actually worked out, so I look like a good coach.
Coach, Troy really got you going. Your senior got you going early, kind of got you out to that lead to begin the game. Just talk about what he means to your club.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing like the player of the year again, after backing up last season. And, he's everything for us. He gets us going, and I challenged our seniors at halftime, and I thought they responded.
Coach, talk about 30 conference wins in a row. What does that say about your kids? 8 straight road wins. I mean, they just dig down and get it done no matter what the situation is.
Yeah, it's just an amazing run we're on, and it's a credit to our guys. We've had some major injuries this year, and we found a way each and every game, at home, on the road. Just a credit to our guys and to our program.
Before I let you go, what about this arena, and what about the footprint that the America East is making in college basketball?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a beautiful arena. It's great for our conference. Obviously great for UMBC to build off of, and yeah, it's going to be a fun place to come play, and I'm really happy for them.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
Guys, thank you, and it was great, John, for John Becker today and his Vermont Catamounts as they dismantled UMBC, and here's their road ahead, and they got a big one coming up right off the bat.
Yeah, Albany obviously is always a tough out on the road. If they get through that game, you can see they got 4 straight home games coming up after that. So if they don't lose at Albany on the 8th of February, I don't see them losing in conference, especially with all these home games coming up.
And that would be for the second in a row, and that game against Albany will be on ESPNU as well. Let's take a look at UMBC's schedule, and they immediately go on the road.
Yeah, they've got 2 straight road games coming up against teams they beat at home. We're in the second round now of conference play, and those will be 2 big games in terms of trying to wrap up a seed at home in the first round, and if they could win those 2 road games with the 3 home games coming up after that, although Albany's always tough for UMBC, but if they could win those 2 road games, they at least have a shot at perhaps even being as high as a 2nd seed. If they don't, then they're back to battling to be in the top 4.
Vermont still the class of the America East Conference, and that'll do it for our entire broadcast team here from UMBC. John Feinstein, Paul Mittermeier, I'm Gary Stein saying so long, where the final score is Vermont 81, UMBC 53. The next UMBC broadcast on ESPN3 will be on Thursday as the women host Binghamton. This is the women's opening game at the new UMBC Event Center. Broadcast time is 7 p.m. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN and the America East Conference. Have a great night from the new UMBC Event Center on the campus of UMBC. Good night from Baltimore, Maryland.